feel tired today? Many people do. Let me say something to you that might surprise you a little bit. Most authors don't burn out because they're tired. They actually burn out because visibility alone is exhausting. Doing all the work by yourself is something that can wear your soul out. And no one was ever meant to carry their visibility, the weight of it, by themselves. Let's talk about that a little bit today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years of business, I've had the incredible opportunity to work with more than 5,000 authors, helping them in the process of writing, publishing, marketing their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But even more than that, what I've really been blessed to do is really just help people be visible and valuable, to do the things that only they can do in this world, to be the them that they are meant to be and show up in a way that makes them feel energized, not worn out, not completely despondent because they try so hard and don't seem to have the fruits of their labor, the benefits of all that work that they put in. I know exactly what that feels like. Um, I don't know about any of the rest of you, but the weather turned again for us, and not in a good way. We went back to it being cold, and I'm just really finding that at this stage in my life, I'm really not dealing with cold at all, really well at all. Um, and I find myself pushing, right? Not something I should be doing. And I almost feel like I owe myself an apology for it. But I do, because the world tells us that if we just try a little harder, if we just do a little more, if we just push a little harder, we'll have that breakthrough. I remember a coach of mine, and this was several years ago, but they were talking about, and this concept is true, but it's kind of also not. Go with me. They were talking about how when you start off something, you have to put in about 10 efforts of energy, 10 efforts of effort to get 1 unit of result. Um, and that after you do it for a while, you can put in 5 units of effort and get 1 unit of result. And eventually it becomes 1 unit of effort equals 1 unit of result. And as you continue doing it, it can become 1 unit of effort equals 10 units of result. And in some respects, that's very true. And it's very heartening to feel like if you just push just a little bit harder right now, it'll pay off in the future. But there's another harsh reality that comes with that. And that's the fact that often we keep doing those 10 units of energy, 10 units of effort. And though it should have gone from 1 unit of result to 5 units of result to, being 50 units of result to being, eventually 100 units of result. Hey, Rick, glad to have you here with us. A lot of times what we find is that it kind of is more like a roller coaster. It shouldn't be, but it ends up being that way because when we rely purely and solely on our own effort, we don't have systems, we don't have programs in place, we don't have support, we don't have team, or worse yet, we're just doing the hard work because somebody from stage, somebody in a course told us if you do this and you really, really commit to the effort of it, it's going to work. And then the algorithm changes, whatever kind of things. Or worse than that, you're doing it inside of a community and you're growing and growing and growing in that. And then you kind of max out that community. and everybody in that community that is going to work with you has. And if you don't have the capability to either be in a bigger pond or to to find another place to swim, you run out of water. Hey, Kyle, glad to have you here with us. It's very easy to have that happen. And then, even though you may have built to the place where you're doing 1 unit of effort and getting 10 units of results, you then see it go back down the other side. And before you know it, because you really all throughout it, you didn't, slack off when you were able to get 10x results. And so because of that, you at one point were getting 100 results for your 10 times. You were 10xing that. And then, like I said, Facebook changed their algorithm and your ads weren't hitting the same way that they were. Facebook changed, and I'm picking on Facebook today, but you could use LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, any of those. They slightly tweaked their algorithm, and social media posts aren't working the same. Facebook made a change here a couple of months ago where these lives that I'm doing, whereas once they used to be evergreen and they would stay here forever, now, they're only available for 30 days and then they disappear. I understand the mechanics and the whys behind that, because having as much stuff stored as what they have, stored in an accessible way, so not just archived or put on a hard drive someplace, but actually in a place where when somebody goes they can find that post. There's a lot of expense in that. I got a message from a company that is one that I do some work with, and they were talking about how they're eliminating some of the free bonuses that they've been giving to their community members that are doing the things that they had been giving free prizes. Do this effort on a daily basis, or do this once a week, or those kind of things that absolutely created participation. But they have to now pivot how they're going to do that, because they found that they spent over $1 million last year paying for the fulfillment of the services that they were giving as bonus credits in this particular case to the people who were always free, never paid for anything, and just did the participation things. And that can really happen to you. And all of these things kind of come together to a position where you can really feel exhausted. Honestly, you can just feel totally worn out and like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? How come I'm putting in all of this work, all this effort, all this energy, and I don't see any results from it? And I'm here to tell you that one of the biggest reasons why that happens for all of us, and I've experienced it too, one of the biggest reasons why that happens is because we're doing it alone. We, number one, don't have systems. And number two, we don't have systems that are things that other people are doing for us. We don't create ways so the thing that we did ourselves, we then teach and train to somebody else, or we find a company that already has that service. Said this many times, at the end of the day, everything is time versus money. You either invest your time or you spend your money to have somebody that already has invested their time do that. And so we spend a lot of time these days. And it starts off, it feels really cool, because you can do really amazingly cool AI videos and all those kind of things. And with the right prompt, you can get a really great video that you can really love and post, and you can do it fairly quickly. And there are other programs where you can pretty well clone yourself and have the clone create videos in your voice, in your style, whatever, what have you. And one of my social media people is telling me We're moving more and more towards faceless videos, things that have words on the screen and really engaging images. Another marketing professional that I work with, though, is saying that because of this proliferation of AI stuff, it's getting to the place where, soon nobody's going to buy anything from anybody unless they've actually met them. And we're going to get back to the place where in-person conversations are almost the only way to sell and to build what you're doing in the world. And it's kind of interesting because way back, King Solomon actually said, the more things change, the more they are the same. I think actually his exact quote is, there's nothing new under the sun. I think the more things change, the more they are the same, maybe Shakespeare. But they both are saying the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. All of the new things, there may be new technologies. Back in the early days of the internet, we didn't have AI as we know it now. And we didn't even have high speed. We had really slow modems and things like that. And so streaming video and things like that were things that some of us that were the pioneers in that area were predicting were going to be happening, where you would go into your living room and say, I want to watch this movie, and click the button, and just immediately, poof, you get to watch it. They weren't really that possible then. And so there are some technologies that change things, but the basic premise of we like to be entertained still stands still. It still stands true, rather. Whether it's a street performer or going to a play, going back to Shakespeare's time, or, early movies, or movies that then have sound with them versus having an organ player playing, and now more and more we just watch the movies in our house. Because then, if you need to take a break or you want to run to the kitchen or you need to go to the bathroom, whatever, you can just hit pause. Wouldn't you love it if you were on the big screen, and you could pause? But, the other people in the audience might not be real thrilled with you. I mean, we even find that same problem when we're here in our house, is that if you pause the video in the middle of it because you need to run, go do something real quick, it frustrates everybody else. See, my point is, the exhaustion comes not because there's something new you need to do, but because there's some things that you need to not be the one doing it. And you become tired because you continue doing those 10 units of energy. And over time, the algorithm changes, those things change, and you find yourself not having even 1 unit of results. Sometimes you have no results at all. It becomes especially true with our book because we put in so much effort. And then we launch the book, and if you do your launch right, you should hit bestseller. If your book hasn't hit bestseller, let's talk. Bestseller is only the beginning. It's something we absolutely could do. We've done it 5,000 times. You need your book to have hit the bestseller list. Absolutely. But then after that, what's the process, and how do you get, especially the reviews that are what are really going to drive that, traffic? How do you get people to come in and consistently buy your book? And there's some methodologies for that. There's some things that we absolutely can do to have that happen, to have it predictable and on a regular basis. And there are some technologies that are in there, but for the most part, it's just a matter of having somebody else that's part of your team. It can be as simple as a virtual assistant that's doing some social media posts for you, or as advanced as bringing in our team to do the promotion, get the reviews, get you the sales, do all of those kind of things that make the real impact and move your book from being that dream that you had to the thing that's really, truly making the impact that you wanted to make, because people are getting it and they're liking it. and they're talking about how great this book is. People are going to look, they're going to see, you know, how many reviews are there on a book? Are they consistent? Are people consistently saying good things about this book before they buy it? Then they're going to look at the ranking and they're going to see, okay, if this book is ranked at, whatever, um, that is a sign. It's a cue for, hey, this book is something that other people are enjoying. And, then algorithmically, you get to the place where then Amazon starts suggesting to people, here's a book that you'll like. Other people who were looking at this book also got. People didn't just buy this one book, they also bought this other book with it, and they suggest other things. And you can totally move to that place. We've got all those systems in place for you. I know you may feel tired today, and I know sometimes what it feels like to want to give up and quit, but please don't. If you feel like you've tried everything with your book, just drop the word tired in the comments, send me a DM. I'm going to give you one simple little question that you can ask today that will help you change everything in how your book's showing up. I'm going to engage with you. I'm going to give you some free tips, and then hopefully help you be able to put around you the team that can be 10 people doing 10 units of energy in 10 different places, so that you're always growing and you've got people watching algorithms and things like that and can tell you, okay, here's where we need to pivot and do those kind of things. Because burnout isn't a sign you're weak. It's most of the time a sign that you are trying to do this without help and support, be Superman and do it all yourself. And you were never meant to do it that way. You need the support that you were meant to have. I'm so grateful for you. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we're together again next time, you have a great week.